Good morning, people in the south. Good day, people in the east. Good afternoon, my friends in the western hemisphere. And good evening, people in the northern hemisphere. How you guys doing? I'm doing well. It's hot down here. The sun is blazing hot outside. Uh, it's quite uncomfortable to walk around outside. So we mostly wait for the sun to sort of dim down a bit, and we would actually go out and start galavanting in the streets. No, I'm kidding. I don't do that. I'm also always waking, and I always find time to learn about things that I don't know, study things, explore things, And today I'm coming on episode number 19 to talk about something that is puzzling a lot of people in our country. I'm not sure about other countries, but I will try to align how things have been done in our country, in South Africa, with the other parts of the world. But most of the things that we do down here are more likely the same as how things are done out there. So we don't know the things that I'm going to talk about today, and we take them for granted, and we think everybody knows, we think everybody should know, we think everybody is aware, and no one, actually most of the people are not aware of how things are done, how things are supposed to be done, and how things should be done. And we don't as well get this education in the classroom, in our schools. The education system down here is quite different. We're learning about, most of the things that we learn about, it's history. It's things that were done by the likes of Pythagoras, and we still perhaps somehow applying them in today's life. And we don't really learn much of the things that we're going to be dealing with and the situations that we're going to be exposed in throughout our schooling duration. And this is a concern, and it should also be a concern to our governments, because we are being taught to be employees, and we are being taught to be operators. We are being taught to be people who operate things, and we miss a lot that we should be in the know of. So we should be in the know of the following sequence, especially if you are fresh from college, you're fresh from university, and then you've tried your luck everywhere with your CV, curriculum vitae, trying to apply for jobs, and no one is hiring you, and you don't know what to do, and you just heard that there's an entrepreneurship that you can fall back on and try something, and they don't tell you what you must do from there. They just give you the word, then you must go and run with the word, go find out how hot the situation is, or how cold the situation is out there. So if you are one of those, like I used to, I've been through the trenches already. I've learned so much about business. I'm building myself into the space, and eventually I hope and believe I'll get to a point where I truly inspire others to follow suit and absorb and learn from my experiences, And these are the following things that you need to know. Number one, you need to know the core sectors of your economy in whatever country where you work, where you live. you need to know the core sectors of the economy, and you also need to know the subsectors in those core sectors, or the less, how do I put this one, the less important sectors that contribute to the economy, if I put it that way, to say it's less important. But in real talk, there's no sector of the economy which is less important. There's just core that we know without these particular sectors, the economy becomes dysfunctional. So you need to learn and know about those core sectors. Example, it's your telecommunications, your transportation, your energy. You need to learn more about those sectors. Number 2, know your passion. Now that you've learned about the sectors, know your passion. What are you passionate about? What is it that you know you can do without feeling any pressure or feeling that you are being forced, or something that you do effortlessly and come right with? Find out what your passion is and learn the dynamics of that particular sector that you've chosen, or the particular sector that you think you align with, or learn the dynamics of all the sectors, the core sectors that you learned about in your economy of the specific country that you live in. Number 4, register a business. In most cases, a business is registered with the agency of the government. In our country, it's called, I'll give it by its acronym, it's CIPC. So we register our businesses at the CIPC, and the CIPC, it's the government. Then you get your business registered. So CIPC stands for, you'll correct me if I'm wrong. I'll say this from top of my head: Companies and Intellectual Property and CIPC, Companies and Intellectual Property Commission. Yeah, if it's not commission, but it's commission. That's where we register our companies. So I'm not sure, where do you guys register your companies in other countries, across Africa, across North America, across South America, across Australia, across Asia, and yeah, who else did I leave out? All of you. You will know where you register. So register your company, and then prepare. Number 5, prepare your compliances. So after you got your business registered, prepare your compliance. Meaning, every registered business needs to comply with certain laws and regulations. So in our country, South Africa, we register the company, and then after registration, automatically CIPC registers your company's taxes. So you get a tax number immediately after registration. You don't have to go to the revenue collector and register for the tax like in the olden days. Now when you're done registering your company, you'll automatically get your tax certificate, and then that is the first compliance that you need. And then in our country as well, we also do something called CSD, Central Supplier Database. Central Supplier Database is a database where we register our companies in case you want to do business with government, any agency, state department, or any other entity that is state-owned. You will have to register with the CSD, and then you get the CSD number and stuff like that. So I'm not sure with other countries if you've got such a thing. So you got your company registered. It has these first 2 compliance. The third compliance is to get your BEE certificate. BEE certificate, it's a prerequisite for all companies to do business in South Africa. For everything that you do, you need to have that certificate. The triple BEE, it's BBB BEE. So it's triple BEE. So triple BEE, it's simply it's a compliant that allows all races in the country to do business in an equal way. So it's a compliance that addresses equality and equity. So if you have been previously disadvantaged in the olden governments and you haven't been given a chance, people like women, people like people of color, people living with disabilities, people living with disabilities, no, they're not covered under BE. It's veterans of the country, people who once worked for the South African Defence Force and stuff like that. So BE addresses such things. So if you've got these three compliance documents, then I think these are the basic compliance documents that you need over and above other things that you might need in the specific sector where you're operating in. So after preparing your compliances, then pick the sector where you are aligning with out of the core sectors and the subsectors that you've deliberated on with yourself. Pick one sector that you align with and you're interested in doing business in such a sector. And then after picking that sector, start working. Start working towards building your business, towards achieving whatever that you want to achieve in that particular sector. If you chose a textile sector, start working. You know what to do if you're in textile sector. Need stuff, sell clothes, sell. The best way to start is to start buying and selling stuff that are related to that particular sector. If you're in energy, buy and sell bulbs, buy and sell electricity units, buy and sell solar panels, buy and sell, geysers or whatever that is. You just start working towards building something within that sector. And then after you have started working, you can now learn the customers that I'm giving these breakdown step by step, such that after you have watched this video, you would have now written down every step that you need to do. Then you go out and start doing those things. There's no way that you'll fail. Then start learning your customers. Learn how your customers operate. Learn how your customers report their problems back to you as their supplier or their service provider. Learn how these customers behave. Learn how to collect money from these customers. Build a customer relations. Build a system that enables you to collect money from these customers. Build a relationship with these customers. Attend courses that has something to do with customer management and customer services and customer satisfaction, for that matter. And then after you've learned more about your customers, learn the sales. If you are not that much well orientated, or you are not good in selling or sales, you need to start learning the dynamics around sales. How do you sell? How does sales work? After learning the sales, learn the art of after sales management. So after sales management, it's a process where you get in contact with your customers after you have sold them something, and then you engage them in a form of a survey, in a form of just to ask them a few questions about the product that you sold them. How do they feel about it? Are they enjoying the service? Are they enjoying the product? How was the previous product? When would you expect the next order and stuff like that? That's after sales management. You learn that. And then learn your governance. This is very important. So the episode today is going to be more around governance. So learn your governance. I will touch base on governance for the entire episode so that you understand what governance is. And then after you have mastered all of that, you understand what governance is, then you would have built a fully fledged business. Then you can decide to either sell the business or scale the business. Scaling the business means you're growing, expanding the business in other territories. If you don't sell, you scale to corporatize. So you scale the business such that you can corporatize the business. Then you become the owner of that corporate business. That's how you're going to do this thing. So stop hearsays and whatever information that you are not sure about that you get in the streets, and then you go around and you do things wrong, or you do all the wrong things, and then you end up being somebody who started something whom could have inspired other generations behind them, and you end up, how do I put this? You end up throwing in a towel in something that would have been great, in something that would have been a success because of lack of information and lack of knowledge. So I want to jump on governance, corporate governance. What is corporate governance? This is the part that messes up a lot of people. A lot of people don't understand what is corporate governance, and corporate governance is very broad, but I'm going to try and touch base on the most important parts of corporate governance, and then maybe in another episode I'll keep on coming back, reiterating on other aspects of corporate governance. But it entails a lot of things. It entails a lot of compliance in it. So today I'm just going to give you the basics of corporate governance, and then maybe in another episode I'll keep on throwing in more details around how corporate governance should be managed. So firstly, I'm going to use myself as a case study and as an example, so to speak. When I do my episodes, I want to be as basic as possible. I don't want to speak big English, confuse people. I don't want to speak modern English, because I can run with you. I can speak the Great Britain English if I want to, but I don't want to do that. I want every Dick, Tom and Harry down in Malawi somewhere to hear and understand what I'm talking about. I don't want to sound smart and confuse people. I want people to learn from this, So I'm gonna give it my best to give as much basic information in a basic English as possible, because someone in Cameroon, they don't understand the English language because they don't speak the language more often than us. They speak more French than English, and if you speak faster in a twang, they end up losing you along the way. So you need to speak well, and then your utterances should be clear enough and audible, so that everyone understands what you say. Then they'll be able to relate and learn a lot from the information that we share. Now, I registered my business with an agency. The business that I'm working with today, I registered this business with the agency of government called NYDA. It was registered in 2012. NYDA stands for, it's an acronym. It stands for National Youth Development Agency. It's a state-owned agency, and I registered my business for free because I went in as a young person and said, please help me register my business. Then I gave them the details, the names of the businesses, the names that I want the business to be called with, and then they registered the business. They called me when the documents were ready to come and collect, and I went and collected my documents, and then I did the compliance documents and all of that. So if you are in South Africa, you know what NYDA is. Go to the NYDA office and register your business. They will register it for free. I'm not sure if that offer is still available. Maybe things have changed, since 2012 until now. It's been about 15 years or so, 13 years or so. So maybe things have changed. They're no longer doing it. I don't know. But I registered mine for free. I didn't pay a cent. And then when you choose a name that you're going to use as you register your company, you have there's two things that you need to know. There's an operating name and there's a registered name. So you can register your name with whatever name and then give your business an operating name. So the operating name of the business, it's possible, it's allowed to be different to the registered name. So sometimes when you fill up forms, they'll ask you, what is the registered name? You give them the registered name. What is the operating name? You give them the operating name. Mostly operating names are just one word name, one word catchy name for people to remember. You know, you can't be having your registered name being I saw this name. It was a long. I don't want to mention this name. They'll get crossed with me because they are my clients. They're my clients, and they'll be crossed with me that I'm using their name as an example, and it's not going to sit well with them. So I want to reiterate on the fact that the registered name does not necessarily have to be the operating name. Operating name should just be one word catchy name, and then registered name can be anything else that you want to link your operating name with. So you don't have to register your operating name. You register with one name. So that name will be the name of your business that runs that operating name. So operating name simply means the name that you operate with, the name that is on the board, or when you at the entrance of your store, the name that is wherever, the name that you put on your t-shirt, maybe. Or I'll give you an example with a state-owned entity called Eskom in South Africa. Eskom is registered as Eskom Holdings SOC Limited. So it's Eskom Holdings. SOC stands for State-Owned Company Limited. So it's Eskom Holdings SOC Limited as a registered name. And then its operating name, it's just Eskom. 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 That's it. That is operating name. So you can't be wanting to call Eskom as Eskom Holdings SOC Limited every day. So they gave us this catchy one-word name to use as their operating name. I think my examples is clear enough for everyone to understand. Now, let's talk about CI. Now that you've registered your name, you have a registered name, maybe perhaps you have an operating name as well. So let's talk about CI. CI, it's corporate identity. CI stands for corporate identity. How do you want to identify yourself? How do you want to identify your business? You need to choose the colors of your business. You need the basic colors of your business. These are the colors that you're going to use. Maybe when you do advertising, you can't be changing colors every now and then. These are the colors that you're going to use if you do billboards, you do flyers, you print t-shirts. You know our colors are black, then you're going to use black t-shirts with the white font. And so you need to choose specific colors that you like your business to uphold as the colors. That is called CI, corporate identity. Maybe you want to brand your chairs, you want to brand the couches in your offices, you want to brand the name tags, whatever that is. So you're going to use the same colors. That is called CI. Your website is going to run with the same colors. That is called CI, corporate identity. That is one of the things that you need to have as part of the aspects of corporate governance. Like I said, today I want to talk about corporate governance. So registering a company, having a registered company, having your corporate identity, that is corporate governance. It falls under corporate governance. So next thing, develop and formulate your policies. You need to formulate and develop basic policies. As and when you grow your business, develop policies that are going to help you build this business. You can develop a simple policy like environmental policy. How do you guys as AJ Pty Ltd, how are you going to contribute towards upholding the environmental aspect of our communities. How are you going to work with your communities in terms of environment? Or you can develop a policy around corporate social investments. How are you going to contribute your social impact towards the communities that you operate in? That is called CSI, corporate social investment. So you can develop a policy around that. How are you going to help the communities? How are you going to give back to the communities as a business? You can develop a policy about that. You can develop recruitment policy, because you're going to hire people. So you can't be hiring people by thumb sucking the processes. You need to have a process in the form of a policy that guides you on how we're going to do all of these things. You need to have a what do you call this? I'm trying to think of basic policies that you can develop. You can also develop a did I mention recruitment? Yeah, recruitment policy. You can also develop a social media policy for people that you hire to understand what information needs to be shared on social media and stuff like that. So you need to develop such policies. So I'm going to prepare an episode that is solely going to talk about policies that you need to have as basic policies in your business. I was just naming a few just to make sense of what I'm saying. And then lastly, you need to understand what a holding company is, because there's a lot of people who register companies and they call them holdings, and later you realize this is a holding company, or it's named whatsoever name holdings, but they are not holding anything. So for a holding company to exist, you need to be holding some subsidiaries. So when your company is named AJ Holdings, the holding part means you are holding specific subsidiaries. There's subsidiaries that you are holding. What is a subsidiary? Subsidiary is another company that your parent company is owning. So you have your AJ Pty Ltd that is being owned by AJ Holdings. So AJ Holdings is owning AJ Pty Ltd, or AJ Holdings is owning AJ Pty Ltd and owning MO Pty Ltd, owning ZZ Pty Ltd, owning, So the moment you call yourself holding, it means you are holding some subsidiaries. Subsidiaries are other companies that you have purchased or bought, and then you are owning them. Maybe you own 51% of them. I'll dwell much on the ownership around the meaning of holding in another episode, because for a company to qualify to be a subsidiary, you need to own at least 51% of the subsidiary. Then it qualifies to be a subsidiary to that holding company. So that's how a holding company means. So if you are registered, or you've registered your company and you're calling it whatever holdings, and you're not holding anything, you must start holding things. You must buy or find another company that you can hold, because you can't just be holding nothing. You need to hold something. That's how holding. Like I'll give you a typical example. Go check, just search on the internet the companies that Johnson & Johnson is holding. Johnson & Johnson is the parent company, and it holds children companies under it, because it's a Johnson & Johnson. It's I stand to be corrected. Johnson & Johnson is a holding company, and it holds a whole lot of other pharmaceutical companies under it. They buy smaller pharmaceutical companies and they hold them. Just go check what other subsidiaries does Johnson & Johnson have. You'll see. So that is the meaning of holding a company, or a company that is holding. That's what it means. That's part of corporate governance. So today I've touched base on the basics of corporate governance, and then as I unfold the whole lot of more information, I'll be able to dwell much on corporate governance and how it works, and then I'm going to dive deeper into other things about sustainability, environmental, social impact, and stuff like that. So a business works in that way. So you start from where I started, listing out the things that you need to do and identify those things. So one of the biggest things that we need to understand around CI, which is corporate identity, something called branding. There's a phrase that says a business without a sign is no sign of business. This means all of the things that I spoke about, they will never execute themselves. You have to go out and do them. You are showing a sign of business. You have to go out and do all of those things. And at the end, when you do your CI, you will have decided your colors and everything. Then you start working on the signs and the advertising and the marketing of your business. So you can't do advertising and marketing without having specific colors that you use. For example, I like using colors because it's the simplest thing to understand, and without picking a specific a theme that your company is known for, then you would have done most of the homework that you needed to do to build a sustainable and a repeatable business and be able to scale and corporatize this business. Corporatizing a business needs all of those things, So in the previous episode, I spoke about how I'm going to throw in a bit of my progress in terms of my project, the project that I'm involved in, which is called the Smart Skip Bin. If you don't know what I'm talking about, go back to a few episodes before this one and learn about what the Smart Skip Bin is and how am I going so far. So today I'm just going to throw in another part. Last episode I ended at the part where I was conceptualizing by applying and participating in different types of accelerator programs. So today I'm just going to tell you where I actually started pitching the idea. So my first pitch was at Seventh. Seventh is one of the accelerators that are available in the country or globally, and I saw an advertised support program by them. Then I applied and they shortlisted me. Then my first presentation, my first pitch was with Seventh. The judges were in the panel, and then I had to present this entire idea. They wanted ideas, and then it was still new, like fairly new, and I was still trying to find myself around this idea. And they asked me questions, man. They asked me questions on things that I was still working on, and I was just throwing in things. And then through that interview or pitch, I was able to pick up a lot of things that helped me to polish and improve, modify my pitch, such that in the next pitch I was able to pitch it better, present it better. And then my next pitch, I think it was with Boost Up. Boost Up is run by MLab and TIA, Technology Innovation Agency. And then that's when I participated regionally, provincially, and I went and represented South Africa in Botswana. And then because I had already refined my pitch and my idea, and then it was making more sense. Yeah, so in the next episode, I'll tell you what happened after that. Or I'll tell you through a story that happened to me in Botswana. Okay, so those are the pitch that I did in the Smart Skip Bin. I also did the GCIP one, which got me in the top 8. I also did the Propeller one, which got me in the top 3 in the country. All these competitions are competitions that we participate with other entrepreneurs in the entire country of South Africa. And I got top 8, I got top 3, I got position 1, I got, so I did all of this in the Smart Skip Bin. And that's when the Smart Skip Bin started to gain momentum and traction and started to grow. And now we are on another level. But I'll keep on throwing in my story of the Smart Skip Bin until I show you the final product. Lastly, before I go, please visit one of the support sites. It's the Department of Small Businesses. It's the department by the South African government, the Department of Small Business Development. They have a wide range of support programs available. I think they will expire in the next month or two, please go visit and apply. They've a lot of money that they want to give. I saw something like between 1 million and 10 million rands. If you are in the textile sector, telecommunication, whatever, go and apply, because one of the equipment that I got in my business, I got through the Department of Small Business Development, and I appreciated it so much. I still got the equipment. I'm using the equipment. It's working, and it contributed a lot into my business. So go and check out the Department of Small Business Development and apply. There's a list of available programs that are opened. Go and apply for that money and grow your business. And before I go, don't forget to subscribe. There will be a pop-up here. Click on the pop-up to give an option to subscribe to this channel and learn more and grow your businesses. So by so saying, I'm saying I will see you next week.